best friends tell you about history and what happened in it. I'm Emileigh, and this is Morgan.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. I'm here.
You're here.
Can I tell you some bullshit
I
that I've been complaining about?
always want to hear some bullshit.
Okay, so as listeners may know, just from seeing pictures of us, I'm a bit of a heavier set woman, which is fine. But I've been looking to, like, you know, really work on eating better and, you know, trying to be healthier. Whatever that may look like. So as part of my, like, eating healthy plan, I started eating, like, upping my protein and fiber intake, reducing, like, sugars. I don't eat out at restaurants anymore, or it's just very rarely, you know, doing all the right things. And within a couple weeks, I gained 6 pounds. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why am I'm like counting my calories. I'm eating what I believe is a deficit because I'm controlling my portion sizes better. I don't think it's unhealthy what I'm doing at all. I think it's healthier than what I've been doing for a long time. And I had a doctor's appointment that week, and she even did blood work. And she's like, your thyroid is fine. Your blood sugars are fine. We don't know why you're gaining weight. So I reached out to Reddit because Reddit knows all. And someone was like, are you eating oats? Because oats, like, are used for livestock to gain a lot of weight.
Oh, no.
I've been eating overnight oats every single fucking morning, thinking, this is a good source of fiber. I was sick this past week, and I stopped eating overnight oats. I've already lost weight. And I ate like shit this past weekend because I was sick. And I've already lost weight just because I stopped eating the overnight
oats. The motherfucking oats.
I drink oat milk all the time, so I'm like, is that like contributing to my weight gain too? So I'm going to start cutting out. I'm going to switch to, I need to really up my protein based like what my dietitian has told me. Because I told my dietitian my diet, and she was like, yeah, sounds good. Sounds like you're doing everything you need to do. But I'm going to switch to soy milk because it has more protein in it, because I have to eat at least 96 grams of protein a day, which is so much. I haven't even gotten half of that. I'm working on it. But
if I don't eat that much protein, I riot around everyone that is around me. I'm not a happy camper. My body cannot deal without it. I don't know why.
And I eat, like, I will eat 4 eggs in a day trying to hit my protein goal, and it's still not even, like, half. Like, I've been eating hard-boiled eggs. I've been eating nuts and tofu and beans, and because I'm plant-based with eggs, and, like, I'm not getting there. So, but I'm
bless you
gonna work on that. But
listen, peanut butter is great, but that will also pack on the pounds too. So yeah, which is what I eat for breakfast every morning, and that's probably why I am the way I am.
So I had to complain about that because I was like, are you kidding me? I'm trying to God. Look at me trying to do things by myself without asking anybody.
How dare you try to do the right thing and eat healthy and your body riot? How dare you?
And it's so sad because they're so easy to make, and I actually like them, but not if they're going to make me gain 10 pounds in 2 weeks.
I've thought about cutting out bread, not like all carbs in general, just, you know, super starchy breads. And it just makes me so sad to think
especially with how good your sourdough is. How could you?
How could I? I need to make sourdough again. I would eat all the sourdough because sourdough is very good for your digestive system. So I would
all
eat
that fiber in it.
All of that. I need to get back in the habit of making bread, so I will eat just that bread. And the kids freaking love it too. So
yeah,
my sourdough starters are like alive. They're just being unused and they're unhappy about it. But I hinted to this off air. Morgan,
I need to hear about this.
Do you want to hear how I'm Steve Irwin?
Yes, please.
Okay, so a crisp hour ago, upon recording, Nick comes upstairs. And guys, we have woods in our backyard, which means naturally we get a field mice or two every now and then that tries to get into our house. So we keep sticky traps around the house and check them periodically. It's not a problem. It's just kind of what happens when you live in a more rural area. So Nick went and checked a sticky trap, and he comes upstairs and there's something in it, and it's not a mouse. It's a little baby rat snake.
Oh no.
And it was only about a foot long, and it was stuck bigger than hell, and it was still alive. And my daughter was like, I don't know about that. I don't even think my son ended up knowing about it till after the fact, because I went into like must save the rat snake mode. Mm-hmm. And I Googled it real quick. Turns out you can pour any
vegetable
kind of
oil,
gentle,
right?
like vegetable oil on it. So I took it outside and I sat in my driveway and next to the woods, and I poured olive oil on this tiny snake and was like rubbing its little body, and I unstuck its tail, and then I put leaves on the sticky pad so it wouldn't like get restuck. And then eventually it got to where it was just its head, and I, only slightly waterboarded it with oil, and then like used a stick, because listen, that thing was pissed. But I pried it off, and I was like, I really hope I didn't do all this for naught. It was just going to flop over dead. That thing, the moment it hit the ground, its head popped up and looked at me like, I mean, thank you, but also fuck off. And then turned around and slowly slithered away. And I was like, I've done it.
Yay.
I am one with nature. I am the savior of all. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. My husband would not touch it at all. He was like, that's your job. And I'm like, okay.
It's not going to hurt him. It's just a rat snake. They're not poisonous. No.
And I mean, it literally, if it was a foot long, I'd be surprised. It was a teeny tiny baby, and I told it that its repayment can be eating all the mice that were trying to get into my house. And we
live another day to eat all the mice.
Yes, like you need to be around.
Yes,
just don't try to come back inside. You'll get stuck in a similar situation. Okay, thanks. So that was I think it took me about 15 minutes. So
here's your good karma for the month.
Yeah. Do unto others. If I was stuck on a sticky trap, I wish somebody would rub me down with olive oil.
Sounds like the plot to one of your books.
Yeah, I'd read that. Anywho, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. It's 1975 at the United Nations Law of the Sea Conference, and in between meetings, the British and American representatives are chatting, waiting for the next one to start.
What is your stance on this whole Iceland thing?
Well, if you ask me, it's just 200 miles. Just let them have it. I wouldn't worry about it.
Wouldn't worry about it? That's where the majority of our cod comes from.
Just buy it from them. I'm sure y'all could work out a good deal.
Are you mad? We've been fishing in those waters for centuries. We have every right to be there.
Just because you have doesn't mean you should have. I think you should just give it to them.
You can't be serious.
Serious as a rattlesnake in an outhouse.
What does that even mean? Never mind. Give me one good reason why I should do that.
Because Iceland is a bit fickle about their fishing industry, and if you don't give in to their demands, they're going to shut down that base where my troops just so happen to be listening to those damn commies. So unless you want to be responding to each other as comrade, you will give in.
Fine. I hope you can sleep at night knowing you're the reason that many of my fishing communities are going to suffer.
Morgan, do you have any idea of what we're talking about today?
Not a clue. And I would also like to apologize to the country of Britain for my attempt at a British accent.
I think it was spot on. Okay, so now we both apologize.
Yes. Sorry. You're allowed to do dumb American accents on our behalf. We give you permission.
Yep, you've all got, the entire country has the clear.
Yep. No, I have no idea what this is. I've never heard about
it's called
Iceland and Cod.
The Cod Wars.
Oh, man. It's giving Star Wars vibes.
I know.
But Cod.
Cod. So, just a little bit of background, because you're all probably like, the fuck are you talking about, Emileigh? Why would you go to war over cod? And
not with the cod.
Not with the cod.
Not like in the Emu Wars.
No. No. You know what? Honestly, I don't know. If the cod had like a collective mind, they might have won, because there were just so many of them. But they're cod. So, a little background. So, let's go way back to 1901. Britain made a 50-year agreement with Denmark, which controlled Iceland, to restrict Iceland to 3 nautical miles of the executive economic zone. So when I will be talking about miles, because I'm not going to say EEZ and whatever the other maritime mile.
Did we just had to look up economic zones for one of my episodes. It
was the island, right?
Lester Hemingway.
Yes, we did. So I'm not going to go EEC. We brain melded again. Just know when I say miles, I'm talking about miles off the coast. So in 1901, Britain made a 50-year agreement with Denmark, which controlled Ireland, for Iceland to have an executive economic zone of 3 nautical miles surrounding Iceland. And that means Iceland would only legally control those 3 nautical miles.
Okay.
So Denmark, because they were in control at the time, had been hesitant to confront the British about fishing in Icelandic waters. And Iceland couldn't do anything about it. But Iceland was never happy about the British coming in, because Iceland does not have a lot of exports other than fish. That is what they got, pretty much. One of their major exports.
There's not a lot going on in Iceland because it's rocky and there's not a lot of like usable farmland. I can't imagine being limited to 3 miles off your coast for fishing. That's nothing.
And you could fish further out, but you were in competition with literally anybody else, the world. So, fast forward to 1944, after Germany occupied Denmark, Iceland actually petitioned to become their own independent republic, and they wanted economic independence, and that relied on the fishing industry and also an air base that will come into, we'll talk about that in a minute, but they want an economic independence, and that means they needed to get their fishing industry back into their own hands after they became independent.
That's so interesting, because I did not realize that in the 40s, Iceland was not its own sovereign country.
Yep. It was in the 40s that it became its own thing. It was under the Denmark umbrella.
Okay.
So, also remember that on March the 12th of 1942, the Cold War began. And some Icelandic people embraced the communist ideology. they are kind of close.
Yeah.
Physically. But not the majority. So the majority is, like, oh my gosh, the communists, no. And then there is a sizable chunk of Icelandic people that embraced it.
Mm-hmm.
So to give you a perspective on how overfished the Icelandic waters were by the British, and this is not a slight on Britain at all. They were obviously just trying to supply their own people, but there were no quotas, there were no standards, there was nothing, so they could just go over there and do whatever they wanted back then. So let's take a little refresher. Back in the 1880s, fish and chips became a staple of British cuisine. One of those fish, very popular for fish and chips, is cod. And I think halibut is the other one. They don't like oily fish, which is fair.
Yeah, you don't want, it's the batter. You don't want it like leaking into the nice crisp batter.
Yeah. Listen, I love me some fish and chips. I ain't gonna lie. Cod fishing was a huge part of the British economy at this point. And because, fish and chips was really cheap and nutritious, and back then, that's what you needed. So, fast forward again into 1956, just as a baseline, I know we're hopping all over the place, guys, but in 1956, British distant water fishing reached 8.5 million tons of fish, most of this being cod.
Wow.
Of just distance water fishing. So not just Iceland, but that's a metric shit ton. And the European Common Fisheries Agreement allowed all European countries to fish in each other's waters. So everyone was in competition with everyone.
Dang.
Yeah. So Great Britain didn't even have exclusive access to their own fishing grounds. And that increased its reliance on Icelandic grounds, specifically for the cod. And during this time, Iceland is tiny. It's brand new independence. Great Britain is a very, as we know, established, powerful entity of a country. And they have the bigger boats. They have the better equipment. They can catch more fish faster than the Icelandic people. So the Icelandic people were like, the fuck, dude?
Right.
We're trying to make a living here, and you're taking everything that's allowing us to take a living. So, in 1952, there was a treaty. In 1952, the treaty concerning Icelandic's 3-mile radius had expired. So Iceland was like, screw y'all. I want 4 miles now.
Just 4.
Just 4. Be modest, Morgan. Come on. So, no, but I want 4 miles because they were concerned. Yeah. Of course. Obviously, the British were like, no.
4 miles? No way.
No. How dare you? We're going to keep fishing in that mile that you claim is yours now. We're just going to keep doing it. And because, and I love y'all, the British can be very petty.
Yes.
They were like,
we've covered that a few times.
Yes. Listen, we do. We love you. We're blaming your government. Y'all can be petty. They stopped buying Icelandic fish imports over a mile that they asked for. And they referred the case to the International Court of Justice, or the ICJ. We will be referring to them later as well. Okay. And this began the Proto-Cod War. So this is the Cod War before the Cod War. Yeah. And Iceland, the British wanted to refer the case to the International Court of Justice to begin the Proto-Cod War, the war before the war. Iceland refused to consent to the referral, so they did not want to even send it to them unless Great Britain repealed its ban on Icelandic fish. So they're like, we're not even going to let you take this to court unless you start buying our shit again. And Britain was like, nah. No. Wow. We're not doing that. So they did not agree to repeal the ban. And they reasoned that it would be unfair if they repealed the ban because, quote, to remove their sanctions against Icelandic fish if the Icelandic government were not willing to suspend the operation of their new fishing limits. Petty, so much just petty.
That's what it sounds like. I mean, they're just like, we don't want to. We're not getting our way, foot stomp, is like how it's sounding.
Listen, again, we love y'all. Great Britain is not like being told no in any form or capacity. Like, they will stomp. Like, I imagine they're like the bully kid with the magnifying glass is trying to like burn the ant just for fun. It's like, could you chill? Calm down. So remember, in the background, the Cold War is happening. And the Soviet Union is looking to gain any kind of strategic ally. And Iceland is like, we need people to buy our fish. So guess who Iceland starts selling fish to? The Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Do you blame them?
I do not. They need to make their money.
They gotta make their money. But Iceland was a member of NATO. And leading, a German general was quoted saying, whoever controlled Iceland held a revolver constantly pointed at Great Britain, Canada, and the United States.
Yeah, because it's kind of the only landmass in between all of those different places. Yeah.
So NATO needed to hold control of Iceland. And also, remember that base I said was going to come up later? Mm-hmm. Iceland had a base that was very important to NATO called Keflavik. And it was, I mean, I can't even describe how crucial it is. Like, it was a listening base. You could hear what the Soviet Union was doing from this base. It was an airstrip. It was vital. So important. So they had this freaking trump card in their hands. And if the Soviet Union gained control, it would, decimate NATO, pretty much. And you've got to also remember that there is a big chunk of Icelanders that are communist sympathetic. Mm-hmm. So there was constantly a threat of Iceland leaving NATO and then it'd be lost. So not wanting to lose Iceland as an ally, the United States, Spain, and Italy all started purchasing Icelandic fish. And then eventually, Great Britain was like, fine. And conceded to the 4-mile zone. And this ended the Proto-Cod War.
Okay. I can't believe they were making a stink about Like, I know, like, volume-wise it is, like, a lot of territory to add an extra mile. Like, that's a lot of square footage. But also, it's in the ocean, so it's also not that much, you know?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, like, calm down. It's a mile. And I do have, I don't know if you saw in the pictures, I do have, like, a map. Mm-hmm. So, at its skinniest, that light blue line is that 4 mile mark. And then we'll go... up to the next, up to the next, up to the next from there. Just so you know, if you guys are looking at it, the lightest blue around Iceland is the 4 mile mark. So let's get to the first official Cod War. Now, the Cod Wars are defined as 3 separate kind of instances. 3 separate wars. That's the Cod Wars. So, in September of 1958, just, I believe, 4 years after the initial, bounce up, Iceland is still super concerned that Great Britain is overfishing their waters. So, they're like, all right, bitches, we're going from 4 miles to 12 miles. And... I don't know if you gathered this, but Great Britain was like, no, you're not.
Yeah. If they made such a thing about 4 miles, well, 12 miles that's too much.
Oh, that's
too much.
Absolutely the hell not. An extra 8 miles. Are you kidding me? So they refused to recognize it and continued fishing inside those 12 miles. So the Icelandic Coast Guard began engaging with these British trawlers. Trawlers are the fishing boats, guys. Mm-hmm. Inside these 12 miles. And it was to the point, like, I guess they were trying to arrest the British fishermen. It got to the point where the British Royal Navy were deployed to establish a protected zone where British trawlers could avoid the Icelandic gunboats. Because these are all armed boats. Because it's the Coast Guard. And, I mean, literally the crews of the Icelandic gunboats would board the British trawlers that got into within the 12 mile zone. But then, like, the Navy would come and then make the Icelandic boats flee.
This is crazy.
This is wild. Insane. All over fish. So the conflict never escalated to like a gunfight.
Like not
at
actual
this
violence.
At this point.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, it's whatever. Okay, so tensions were there, obviously. And the British and Icelandic ships started ramming into each other.
Oh, shit.
And I have pictures. And it's
God.
also known that a lot of these trawling ships were also being used as spy boats to spy on the communists. Wow. There's so much shit going on.
Okay, like, it looks like... So, you have a few pictures of, like, these boats hitting each other. It looks like they're trying to kill each other. Yeah. Honestly. Like, you're in the ocean. Like, if your boat sinks.
Yeah.
You're SOL.
I mean, they didn't... And I saw an interview. It was really cool seeing an interview with people who were actually on these ships on kind of both sides. And they were like, we didn't want anyone hurt. And there was one guy that said, and I'm loosely, translating or quoting, but he was like, I, was pushing them around, but I eventually had to just like back off because there's people with families back home. I didn't want to kill anybody. Like, I don't want to kill anybody over fish.
Yeah.
But I just wanted them to, I'm trying to do my job, but also not kill people at the same time. So it's not like anybody was wishing harm on other people. It was more like, this is my territory and I'm going to beat you up a little bit.
Yeah.
So the British government agreed to withdraw from the disputed area while the UN held a conference concerning this.
Okay.
But and Great Britain, of course, was like, you know, we agreed on 4 miles. They have no say. Like, why would they shoot for 12 miles? They did understand that there was a big risk that the UN would pick the 12 miles only because of Iceland's threat of like pulling completely out and being like, fuck off, we're gonna sell,
They have the ultimate bargaining chip.
Mm-hmm. They really do. And in the same token, the members of the Icelandic government knew that backing down would be catastrophic to their political careers. Yeah. So they were like, I would rather go down swinging than try to like come to some kind of peaceful whatever. Iceland held steady following the 1961 Commission on the Law of the Sea. Britain conceded.
Sorry, that doesn't even sound real.
No, I know.
The Commission of the Law of the Sea. That sounds fake.
Aquaman was the head of this.
Yeah. The mermaids were like running around, like everyone's
they weren't running, they have no feet.
Oh, they're swimming around.
Neptune held council.
Oh my gosh. This does not sound real. Commission of the Law of the Sea. They need to go over to New Atlantis.
Yeah. Oh my shit. God. Ursula was bribing people. So Britain finally conceded for a second time, conceded to the 12-mile radius. And this concluded the first Cod War in 1961. So British is thinking, whatever, it's 12 miles. This is gonna be fine. Well, in a crisp 1972, the next year, Iceland was like, actually, we'd like 50 miles. And Great Britain was like, no, we gave you fucking 12.
Which is still not a lot.
Still not a lot. No. Listen, guys, I'm on Iceland's side. These people are scrappy. They will do what they need to.
These are Vikings, man.
Yeah. I'm scared of them, respectfully. And Great Britain was throwing a little bit of a temper tantrum. But whatever. So, all over again, Great Britain was like, nah. And then Iceland was like, yeah, those are my 50 miles, bitch. And again, the Coast Guard was mobilized. They're out there playing bumper boats again. Mm-hmm. And Iceland found a new piece of technology. And it's called trawl cutters. And I have a diagram of that in the pictures, Morgan. And this is used to sever the nets of other vessels. So they would draw. It's like it looks like an anchor that doesn't go all the way down. It's got sharp edges, kind of like a box cutter with like the special safety box cutters that have like the hook. So they would drive across, and these trawlers, the net is drug behind them, and it catches the fish, and they scoop them up and whatever. I'm sure I will put this in the like pictures for the week as well, but it's basically like a sharp hook that they drug across the trawler's lines, and it cuts the whole net off. And then the trawler doesn't have a net anymore.
Yeah. Which I'm sure is not, one, like it's cutting into the profits of the fishermen, and two, because they're not catching the fish, and then they got to pay to get new nets and equipment and stuff.
That equipment can cost up to like $10,000.
Yeah.
It was devastating. And most of the time, they could not get those nets back. They were gone forever. There were sometimes they were able to like hook them and bring them back up. But then one guy was like, I had my trawl cut. It took me 24 hours to get it back and put it back on. Time is money out there.
Yeah.
I missed a whole day of fishing because of it. So it was, I think, even more devastating than just ramming the boats. I mean, they were still doing that, but it's also, I guess, safer to...
I think it is safer. I think my biggest thing, and again, I don't disagree with like the government of Ireland or Iceland's side. I think what bothers me about this whole thing is that it's the British government that are refusing these concessions against Iceland, but it's I assume it's like private citizens who are doing the fishing.
Yes.
And they are being affected.
Yes.
Because of the government's like stubbornness, and they're being harmed.
And you made a really good point, and I actually didn't write that down at all, but you're right. Each individual British, and the Icelandic people were like this too. Every boat or they were independent owners. So they were self-employed. If they didn't make the catch, they didn't come home with, anything. And the most they're getting is the British Royal Navy trying to help them out. But it's not like they were getting subsidies or anything like that from this.
Or compensation from lost nets or profits or anything like that.
Nothing. And they were just out there. They were like, this is how I make a living. And it's worth the risk for me to go out there, because they would go out there and make $1 million in a weekend. And the money is worth the risk.
Yeah.
So the British Navy, it was kind of funny. The British Navy tried to keep trawlers into sections across Iceland to be able to kind of circle and protect them. But you try telling a seasoned fisherman what to do. It's like herding cats out there. Yeah. They were just going all over the place. And he's, I can't help you if you're over there. Come back.
They're going where the fish are, Davy.
Yeah. He's like, you try telling a fisherman where they want to fish. Like, So, it was quite funny hearing this guy tell the story, because he has this very British accent that I couldn't even try to replicate if my life depended on it. But apparently they were given like a bunch of broomsticks and giant bags of pepper, and they were supposed to make like these little pepper bombs. And these are the trawlers, guys, the fishing boats, and like broomsticks. And they were told to like march on the deck and just pretend that these were guns. And if somebody came onto the boat, to like hit them with the broomsticks and throw bags of pepper.
I mean,
and non-lethal. Apparently, one of the Icelandic ships came up beside them, and they were just taking pictures of them and their broomsticks and laughing. Oh my God.
This is crazy.
This is so crazy. In August, there was one tragedy. So it was the only tragedy, the only fatality of the Cod Wars happened. Halldór Halfridsson, sorry. He was an engineer on one of the Icelandic boats, and when two boats smashed together, a compartment partially flooded, and he was electrocuted by his welding equipment. and was killed.
Oh,
he was
God.
the only fatality through this entire thing. So just know that it wasn't like mass losses, just him, unfortunately. This second Cod War really pushed Iceland very close to leaving NATO. Mm-hmm. And the Icelandic government was very heavily threatening to shut down Keflavik. I have to think about it every time I say it. Keflavik. And NATO was like, Great Britain, you better fucking not do a damn thing to piss off Iceland. Don't you dare. Mm-hmm. Because Iceland was like, I'll fucking do it. Yeah. I will do it in a heartbeat. And they just wanted to make it really hard for the British people to, like, pursue the fishing. And
what do they have to lose, you know?
Yeah, seriously. And they were just, I mean, they were playing all their cards right, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And NATO urged Britain to, quote, exercise the utmost restraint. And let's just say the Icelandic people don't give a fuck at all. Mm-hmm. Because Great Britain was like, fine, I'll send it to the ICJ, like I wanted to do before the first one, mm-hmm. to handle this dispute. The International Court of Justice, if y'all forgot what that was. And the ICJ ruled by an overwhelming majority that Iceland had no right to just extend their miles, right?
Okay.
But Britain should limit their catch within that 50-mile zone to 170,000 metric tons of fish. So giving Britain a parameter, right, within those 50 miles. So it's a good compromise, right? Great Britain immediately moved to comply with this order, but Iceland was like, I do what I want. Mm-hmm. And continued to fight Great Britain. The ICJ did not immediately, like, give out reprisal. They didn't do crap about it fast enough, and it weakened the legal respect of the ICJ.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, you told us to do something and we're not going to do it and you're not going to do anything about it? Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing.
Right. It's not being enforced.
Yeah.
But also, like, what body would enforce it? Like, the ICJ doesn't have, like, bailiffs that are going to come, like, like, knocking people up, because that was a wrong way to say that. Knocking people about is what I meant. Knocking people up. Ugh.
Just left and right. Oh, my God.
Oops. That, I didn't mean to say that. Oops. Sorry.
Do not apologize. So, over 30 nations began claiming 50 miles as Iceland's. And the success in defying the ICJs literally just brought it on. They were like, yeah, well, if they're not going to do anything about it, sure, I guess 50 miles is yours, Iceland. F off, Great Britain. And in October of 1973, so just a year later, Great Britain kind of went into talks with Iceland. The Prime Minister, Johannesson, wanted to compromise, Johannesson being Iceland's Prime Minister, and said that it was politically impossible for him to give a public undertaking to stop interfering with the trawler. So he was like, I am not telling them to stop, because, again, he's thinking about his own political career. If he tells his people to stop, they'd be like, you're not our prime minister anymore. Bye. Britain finally conceded in October of 1973 to the 50-mile limit, mostly due to pressure from NATO concerning the Keflavik base. Mm-hmm. And And that was kind of it for the second one.
Okay.
They did have, for the next 2 years, a limited kind of run. Like, they were allowed to fish within that 50 miles for like X amount of fish. I forget how much it was for the next 2 years. And that's what they had. And that ended the Second Cod War.
Okay.
Now on to the third in 1975. So, 2 years later. Okay, so in the 1975 United Nations Law of the Sea Conference, or the UNLOSC. Again, a made-up thing is what it sounds like. Some countries showed support for a 100. So Iceland was like, y'all would support 100 miles. We've got 50 right now. Y'all would support 100. So we're going to say we own and control 200 miles. That seems right.
Round it up. Why not?
Just round up. And Great Britain was like, no! No! We threw a hissy fit over 4 miles. You're asking for 200? Crisis. So the Icelandic people were very much pressuring their own government to do this because they have a big stake. In the same time, the British industry kind of pushed them to just kind of figure out something like a settlement. Like, figure it out. But their livelihoods are not riding on this. So obviously the British people are not going to have the same gusto as the Icelandic people.
Mm-hmm.
And, they were like, I don't know if we'll get the 200 miles, but if we don't, let's pull that card again. We're gonna get rid of the base that you Americans love so much. And actually, when we get rid of the base, we're going to let the Russians come in. Actually, we're just going to bring them on down. New bestie.
Oh my God. I bet that gave the Americans a hernia. Oh my God.
You're going to what?
the Russians. Or Soviets, they're not Russians yet.
No. So, in the same token, this is kind of like a sidebar, but the European Common Market had a policy of not imposing tariffs on Icelandic fish so long as there was no dispute between Iceland and the other members. Well, now there's a dispute, right? So Germany started imposing tariffs on these Icelandic fish. And it's almost like Iceland had a gun to Great Britain and then just pulled out another revolver and pointed it at Germany and was like, I will fuck you up too. I will do it. Take the tariff off.
Oh my God, this is so it's so funny, honestly.
They literally threatened to disband an agreement they had with West Germany concerning their waters if the tariff was not removed. And I believe it was.
Yeah.
They were just like,
this is what you call foreign policy, right? What did Theodore Roosevelt say? Carry a big stick?
Yeah.
Iceland's just whacking everyone on the head with their big stick. No, not broomsticks.
Not broomsticks or bags of pepper. Just like a Western movie. So, Iceland began talks. They were like, we're going to do this through democracy. I'm pretty sure they were still out there ramming each other, but they're like, let's try to solve this diplomatically first. And Iceland offered Britain 50,000 tons of cod within the 200 miles. And Great Britain was like, no, we want 130,000 tons of cod. And Iceland was like, fine, we'll say 65,000 tons of cod, but we're, quote, unwilling to make any move to bridge the gap. So 65 was their final offer, and Britain was like, we'll go down to 110,000 tons. So they never came to a compromise, obviously. And more and more Iceland, I think this was kind of the peak. Trawlers were being cut and rammed and all sorts of things. And on December 11th of 1975, there was actually like a clash where guns were being fired. No one was hit, no one was hurt, but they were shooting guns at each other because tensions were just so freaking high. I mean, we started our first Cod War, I mean, at what year? What year did we start? 58.
50s, yeah.
And we're talking 75 now. Almost 20 years of bickering over fish. People are fed up with this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, 40 more British Royal Navy ships were out there. Same old, same old. And the Icelandic government were starting to get pressure by the public to acquire naval ships. Not just Coast Guard ships, but like the big guns. They asked the Americans, and the Americans were like, we are not selling you jack shit. I am not getting in the middle of this. And then they were like, fine, we'll go ask the Soviet Union. They also said no, which is, I don't know, kind of funny to me, but it was like, you were so, like, I cannot explain to you how quick they were to just be like, fine, we'll ask your friends over here, the Soviet Union.
What's really funny is that the Soviets were also like, no, you can't have naval ships.
These are our naval ships, sorry.
I think people, like, they could see the writing on the wall. Like, clearly Iceland has no allegiances.
No.
You know, like, they're doing their own shit. No one's just going to give them a bunch of, like giant loaded guns and being like, okay.
No. It's like giving a machete to a toddler. Absolutely the fuck not.
Right, yeah.
Hell
He can't make up his mind on who his favorite parent is that day, you know?
Yeah, absolutely not. So, the Icelandic government pushed for those 200 miles because of the pressure from all angles. They ended up having to conduct negotiations. Wow, negotiations in private, in secret, so the public wouldn't find out, and like retaliate against Icelandic's prime minister because the prime minister of Iceland said, quote, if he had to, quote, make a choice between breaking apart his coalition government and ceasing to be prime minister or breaking off relations with the United Kingdom, he would prefer the latter. He's like, I'd rather never talk to the UK again.
Wow.
Yeah. So this put NATO in a very fragile position again. And again, they're like, fuck Keflavik, and we'll make the Americans leave. On June the 1st of 1976, Britain and Iceland finally agreed to allow 24 British trawlers within the 200 zone, totaling 30,000 tons, so which was less than the original offer.
Right.
And that finally ended the Third Cod War. And then fast forward a little bit, the Cold War ended in 1991. So I'm thinking it was probably a good idea that they held on to Iceland.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Well, and Iceland would have lost their bargaining chip too when the Soviet Union collapsed. So
Yeah.
Wow.
So, there is a little bit of aftermath.
Okay.
So, the British trawlers would receive some compensation after this war, not a whole lot. But an unfortunate circumstance of this is that the British areas that were known for its fishing, I think it was Grimsby, a couple of those towns like that kind of went under and they had to readjust. A lot of them now are fish like packing facilities, and they still have a really good relationship with Iceland at this point. So Iceland, in its success of gaining those 200 nautical miles of the EEZ, the Exclusive Economic Zone, has now become standard in international maritime law. So, say the United States now has like 200 miles. It is responsible for its 200 miles surrounding. And this also gives sovereignty 12 miles off their coast of any. This is international maritime law.
Yeah.
Also, huge learning curve for demonstrating how a smaller nation can win every single time against a bigger nation like that. I mean, they played all of their cards right. Icelandic cod stocks recovered and tripled in size over the next 5 years.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they have a booming fish industry now. Iceland never joined the EU, but Great Britain did. And then they had to follow the rules that now meant that they couldn't fish within 200 miles of any country. And that kind of didn't help the whole like industry falling thing.
Yeah.
And they still have like a really big mutual respect for each other at this point.
That's good.
And as sad, I want to say sad because it did affect thousands of people in Great Britain. As sad as it was for those families, Iceland would have been absolutely decimated.
Yeah, I mean, they're an island. I mean, I know Britain is an island too, but they're a lot closer to other countries, and they have so many different territories all over the world, and like Iceland, I'm sure has to get most things imported because of just the nature of it.
They did, I feel like, the right thing, and there were people who were on Great Britain's side during these Cod Wars, saying in this documentary that came out in 2020, so pretty recently, that they were like, you know, it really sucked at the time, but now looking at it, I can see that they did the right thing. They fought for their country, and we can appreciate that. I mean, it sucked at the time, but we totally get it. So, that's the Cod Wars.
Okay, well, thank you for teaching me about this little slice of maritime history that I didn't know about.
You're very welcome. I didn't know about it either. I found it in one of my books again, and I was like, I'm sorry, did you say cod and wars in the same sentence?
Was it people throwing cod at each other back and forth?
Yeah. I was like, what the hell is this? And I was like, oh shit, the boats are hitting. Oh no.
Almost sunken ships.
Almost. Oh my God, it's like a pre-sunken ship. I don't know if any of the ships did sink. I didn't see any reports of them. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. I watched a couple other things. Also, that documentary was very British in a sense of I didn't know what he was saying. There was no way that was English that was registering in my brain. And I even had subtitles and I was struggling and I was like, yeah, sure. But But in any of the written sources I had, I didn't see of any boats sinking. So.
Okay.
I'm just kind of dumb. I'm slow. He talks
No,
real
you're
fast.
not. Accents can be hard.
They can be hard. And my accent's kind of slow. So
I mean, there's some Southern accents, and I've lived in the South my entire life, and there are some Southern accents. I'm like, huh? What? What did you
I'm
just
sorry,
say?
say that again.
Well, this was super interesting. Thank you.
Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you. You ready to get into some socials?
Let's do socials.
Yeah. So if you like the Cod Wars, you can find us on Facebook,
Ill-Equipped History Podcast group and page.
Gmail,
ill-equippedhistory@gmail.com.
Instagram,
@ill-equippedhistory.
TikTok,
@ill-equippedhistory, where we're actually finally posting TikToks again.
Yay!
We have someone to finally help us
Thanks,
that knows what they're
Shai.
doing.
Woo!
So yay!
Yay! And Patreon.
Patreon.com/ill-equippedhistory. Please consider subscribing so you can listen to our monthly bonus episodes.
And I just made a new sticker. So
yes!
if you subscribe, you'll get, what is it, 4 now? 3?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember. I'll send you stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. However that'll work.
Yes.
I let Emily.
Absolutely.
Emily has the business degree. I let her take care of all of that. as if I'm like, yes, go, like, you do that, Emily. I'm allowing you to do that.
Oh, yes. Please. Thank you. We had a little bit of an oopsie with the sticker, and it came in and the design wasn't right. Like the colors were wrong, and there was a little microphone on it. You can't see the microphone at all.
Yeah,
because
it's just like a black blob.
And I emailed the place I got stickers from, and I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I felt very official. And they were like, sorry about that. And they're sending us a whole new batch.
Yay.
So hopefully those will come out better this time. But I hate complaining, but I'm like, I can't see it. Like, where did it go?
Well, it looks really good. It'll probably be like our special October sticker like we did last year.
Yeah, for sure. And we are making t-shirts for ourselves this year, giving it like a little dry run here. So hopefully we can figure it out and we'll have some merch for you eventually.
I can't wait to have merch. Oh my God.
I can't wait to be like wearing a shirt out in public being like, oh my God, what podcast is that? It's mine.
It's my podcast. You should listen to
my
it.
best friends.
It's on me and my
You're
friend.
meeting a star. Okay.
You know, I did kind of feel that way when we went to go see this Paranormal Life. We're like,
yeah, I did
we know we're here at this podcast show, but here's our podcast.
I know. And people came up and like were asking for our stickers and
they
stuff.
They were so sweet. Oh my gosh. Everyone was so nice. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're subscribing to you right now. Yeah. So if you're one of those people, thank you so much.
Love you.
You're so kind.
I want to cry.
I know.
Okay, so, I guess if you want to get what you want, threaten to go get buddy with the Soviet Union, I guess.
If you are trying to get your way through the Commission of the Sea Law. What the hell is it called? The Law of the Sea. Commission of the Law of the Sea.
Yeah.
Go threaten to side with the communists.
Yeah. You might want to go talk to Neptune and Poseidon first. Get them on your side. And get all the mermaids in fighting formation.
Warrior mermaids. Okay, that's pretty badass. I will have to say.
Do they ride seahorses into battle?
That and like sharks, probably.
Oh my god, a battle shark.
With laser beams. Okay.
Yeah, we
with
gotta
that.
go. Yeah.
Okay, bye.